Alright, I was informed a while ago that doormat is alive, and, well, it'll be interesting to see if they could actually do something next time instead of getting two tapped. Or was it one tap? I think Godzilla bit her and then blasted her to bits. I gotta rewatch the scene, but still. Yep, doormats are back, apparently like, some organization, I don't know which one it was, has her head. And maybe it'll regenerate, or maybe they'll take the blood from it to, like, make some type of crazy bioweapon. Or maybe we'll have Mecha Tiamat or something. I don't know. Who knows? And apparently they also have an offspring as well, which is probably going to go after G-Man, so who knows. But I don't know all the details of it, and that's why we're watching this video. So let's just jump right in, shall we?
Those of you who watched GXK and witnessed this scene may have probably thought that Godzilla finally put an end to this rivalry.
Definitely thought that Tiamat was a fucking doormat.
Goji Center, we also thought the same. However, new updated information on this rivalry has been revealed.
Oh, is this the game? The game thing that came? What was it? I don't remember what it was called.
Not only making the history of this rivalry more interesting, but also laying bare the fact that this war between Tiamat and Godzilla is not over. On the contrary, this conflict between two apex titan species has just begun. Subscribe to not miss any of these episodes discussing your favorite MonsterVerse kaiju. And now, let's get into this rivalry. Goji Center has talked a good bit about Titanus Tiamat already, from first discussing how it almost defeated Godzilla in Godzilla Dominion, discussing its newly revealed...
Yeah, that part I do know about, but... Godzilla was fucking tired, because from what I know is that happened right after King of the Monsters, or somewhere not too long after that, and like, man was tired and shit.
Titan dossier up until her execution depicted in Godzilla Kong: The New Empire.
And whenever it wasn't a surprise attack, well, we saw what happened whenever it was, or at least I think it was a surprise attack, I don't know. But, I don't know. But, you know, we saw what happened whenever they actually did fight. It got two-tapped.
For a Titan that was extremely powerful on paper, many were baffled upon witnessing how easily Godzilla dispatched this kaiju. Seemingly, at least. At this point, it was easy to think that this was the ultimate end of Tiamat. But no, today we are going to bring up two brand new and official bits of information, storyline, and lore.
Survivor Instinct, that's what it was, yeah. I don't know if I'll play that game or not, I don't know.
That more or less...
I might just look at tidbits of it and everything, I don't know.
Tells us that this feud between the Sea Serpents and Godzilla is far from over. In the new graphic novel MonsterVerse Declassified, we get some information about Tiamat that explains how she turned from this to this. And a very interesting detail at the end
has to do with that huge-ass energy source that was in there, which, well, she was clearly siphoning power from until G-Man came up and then took that shit for himself, and now we got evolved Godzilla.
The story and bad news for Godzilla. In this graphic novel, we are introduced to some history regarding Tiamat. Here, we see her in the same form as when she appeared in Godzilla Dominion. Blue and purple scales with translucent fins, wings that acted as flippers for navigation underwater. The book depicts the many instances throughout history where Tiamat would purposefully attack human civilizations over time. Our best guess here is that Tiamat would develop an acquired taste for attacking humanity, earning her the title of Destroyer seen in Tiamat's Monarch dossier. As we reach the modern era, Tiamat would continue her warpath, disrupting human civilization, war operations, and ultimately immortalizing her in legends and myth. But what of her evolution? After the events of Godzilla Dominion, after Godzilla kicked her out of his former lair, Tiamat began looking for a new place to thrive, making her way to the Arctic Ocean. Now, those who have seen Godzilla Kong will recall a few things about this location. In the MonsterVerse, this place served as a stockpile of radiation courtesy of solar energy, making it one of the largest reservoirs of solar radiation on the planet. And Tiamat was here to take possession of it. Of course, another Titan would have already been here, and the fact that this Titan was here may explain why Godzilla hasn't previously taken possession of this place earlier. In this graphic novel, we find Tiamat entering this icy cave when all of a sudden another Titan taking the form of an echinoderm quickly grabs Tiamat and starts a battle that...
Echinoderm, marine invertebrate with bumpy or spiky skin and radical symmetry, okay.
that would end badly for the defeated Titan. This Titan remains unnamed for now. Despite this, we must mention that this creature does have some strong resemblance with a few screenshots taken from Godzilla King of the Monsters, resembling those images of Titanus Typhon. This isn't fully confirmed yet.
Never heard of Typhon, but okay.
During the battle, this creature shoots out a hot, viscous, bioluminescent substance. The side effects of getting stained by this is burns and some corrosive damage, managing to eat through Tiamat's armor. Tiamat escapes the echinoderm's grasp and begins a deadly counterattack, swimming rapidly around this creature, disorienting it, and this time ensnaring the starfish. With its bladed fins and strong serpentine body, Tiamat manages to rip the echinoderm right in half, sending its severed body down into the sea floor. This victory established Tiamat as the proprietor of this energy source, and here we see that she wasted no time and surrendered herself to the effects of this energy source. Similar to how Godzilla allowed himself to be engulfed by layers of ice and bioradiation phenomena, Tiamat cocooned herself in her new lair and would over time evolve into a different form, evolving into a titan with many more bladed fins, 4 appendages, and a magenta bioluminescent glow reminiscent of the energy stored here, and capable of inheriting
So
some.
if that's the case, then I guess they were on equal footing, because Tiamat was getting a bunch of energy and Godzilla was supercharged.
Defensive traits of the Titan that used to thrive in this location. In the newly released console game Kong Survival Instinct, we
Oh, it's
witnessed
a console? Okay, I might check it out then.
Tiamat once again, this time taking on her new form and using this same weapon, a pink viscous corrosive substance capable of burning through hardened armor and organic substances. So, what does this evolution have anything to do with the
Kong's out here
continued
fighting
rivalry between Tiamat and Godzilla? Well, there's more. Kong Survival Instinct storyline includes a shocking revelation that dictates that Godzilla will potentially fight sea serpents once again. And yes, that's serpents, plural here.
Jesus.
Let us explain. The story of Kong Survival Instinct is an interesting one. In the game, we learned that shortly after the events of Godzilla
I
vs.
also like how Kong was fighting it, because like Kong... Kong really does have a habit of ending up fighting a lot of snake-like creatures, doesn't he? Like... First we had, well, I guess the warbats weren't exactly, well, I guess they were somewhat snake-like, but not entirely. Then there was the drowned viper, which I think that thing should have had a lot more screen time, because that thing looked cool as shit. And now there's Tiamat. And again, I imagine Tiamat's probably going to be, like, the hardest snake sea serpent, or, the hardest snake thing to fight. Yeah. Unless it kicks its ass in that game, I don't know.
Versus Kong, that being in 2024, Alan Jonah was still at large and was the head of a mercenary group known as Hyenas. These folks specialized in the black market trade of organic remains of titans and other sorts of megafauna. Throughout the story, we learned that these guys managed to capture a specimen that would hold great importance to this one, Tiamat. Who are we talking about? Ladies and gents, we are talking about Lahamu, the offspring of Titanus Tiamat.
All right,
That's right, Lady Tiamat is officially a mother now, and Lahamu now joins the ranks of Monsterverse Kaiju. In this story, Lahamu is still relatively small by Titan standards, measuring possibly around 90 to 100 feet in length.
Well, the little fucker still has time to grow, so who knows what'll happen.
Given that Titans in this game are scaled at a smaller size, that being so they can interact better with the human characters and fit on screen, it's possible that any official size of Lahamu may surpass the 100-foot range. Regardless of this, it is the physical attributes of Lahamu that make it more interesting. It is mentioned in the game that Lahamu does have a striking resemblance to Titanus Tiamat, and after a bit we do get confirmation that yes, this is indeed Tiamat's daughter. Additionally, according to the mythological origins of Lahamu, the Mesopotamian goddess Tiamat was said to have 2 offspring, one being Lamu, the son, and Lahamu, the daughter. In this game, Lahamu, although being Tiamat's daughter, does differ in some way or form. If we look closely at both of these specimens, Lahamu differs in that she is not the same coloration as her mother at this point in time, with silver scales in body color and different colored fins. Her tongue, unlike her parents, splay out like petals, and this one only has 1 pair of appendages, unlike her mother who has 4. Now, there is probably some explanation as to why she looks different. If we take into account Tiamat in her previous form before she evolved, we see a resemblance to both of these, that being its coloration and types of fins. Meaning that whenever Tiamat gave birth to Lahamu, the offspring may have adopted physical characteristics of both Tiamat's evolved and previous form. But this is just the beginning. This one, however, mutated enough to take in other additional properties. It is mentioned in-game in Lahamu's creature profile that this one has advanced camouflage capabilities, allowing her to be borderline invisible. But some of you may be thinking, how is a juvenile Lahamu going to threaten Godzilla? Surely even an invisible sea serpent would still be detected.
Imagine with how it is right now, it isn't much of a threat, but I feel like if it grew up, then well, it'll be more of a threat.
By an overly sensitive Alpha Titan with alternative ways to detect other kaiju. And plus, Tiamat is 100% confirmed to be dead after Godzilla turned her into sliced sashimi in the Arctic.
Okay.
Well, about that. Going back to MonsterVerse
I don't
Declassified,
know how they have the head, and they're probably doing something with it.
there's still a part of the story we have to tell you guys about. The beginning of the chapter that depicts Tiamat actually begins with a monarch scientist that arrives on the site where Tiamat had just been executed. She takes a sample of this Titan's remains, and after another time jump in the book, we are taken to a post-GXK scene in an underground Hollow Earth facility underneath the energy stockpile, where another shocking revelation is introduced. In an analysis lab, the sample taken by the Monarch scientist is revealed to have a 0% rate of decay. What is this? Let's find out. For you to fully comprehend how crazy this is and how serious this problem will get for Godzilla, here's what rate of decay means. Put very simply, rate of decay refers to how quickly something diminishes or rots over time.
Yeah, I figured that. Like, I figured 0% rate of decay means it's fresh, like, all the time. Or at least that's what I got out of that.
In physics and biology, it's used to describe how quickly a radioactive substance will lose its energy and mass. The metric used to show rate of decay is half-life. If you grab a piece of Titan tissue, for instance, and it has a half-life of 5 years, it means that in 5 years, only half of the radiation in this Titan tissue will remain. After another 5 years, then only a quarter of the energy will be left, and so on.
Right.
Here, Tiamat's remains show signs of 0 decay, meaning that this stuff is still radioactive. And in this universe, this means that whatever body parts can be salvaged, it's still viable to be able to clone or regenerate.
Yep. And, oh, is this the head?
And what do we have here?
Yep.
After Godzilla once again decapitated another Titan, Monarch was able to recover yet another head left behind by the G-Man. This time,
we know what happened last time they got a head. A whole-ass robot was made and almost kicked the well, I mean, it did kick the shit out of Zilla and Kong both, but, you know, when they finally started teaming up and everything, and Godzilla lit that axe up, and then they got it. Yeah, like, oh, Christ.
I'm hinting at the fact that the conflict between Tiamat and her species is not over yet. So, where was Lahamu when Godzilla barged into her mother's lair and killed her? We don't have any confirmation about Lahamu's whereabouts as of now, but it is possible that as Godzilla was fighting Tiamat in the icy waters, Lahamu was able to barely make her escape. That
what are you about to say?
or she would have matured enough to not rely on her mother's protection in the events of GXK. If Lahamu is alive post-GXK, there is no doubt that Lahamu will search for vengeance.
Oh, yeah,
and
definitely.
if this Tiamat does somehow regenerate, or if a clone is developed, Godzilla will not only have to worry about a vengeful Titan, but potentially the wrath of a reproducing species.
Oh, boy. Doormat may not be too doormatty now. Possibly. We'll see what happens. Well, that is definitely... I am definitely curious about how the future will go with that. I'm very, very curious about that. Who knows what will happen. We'll see. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end the video now. If you enjoyed it, check out the original one, which will be linked in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.